Hey y'all, iRix Guy here. Now, if you're not already aware, there was something exceptionally epic, and I mean exceptionally epic, unveiled in Cupertino, California today. So if you're not already aware of the news, and maybe you heard it and maybe you didn't really realize the magnitude of this product, but it's not the new iPad, it is the new iMac. Now the new iMac, oh, they always upgrade. They say better, faster, thinner, blah, blah, blah. But why is this iMac with Retina so awesome? Well, the thing is that the monitor. Now let's talk in plain English here. You've got a high definition TV. That's 1920 by 1080. So that looks good. That looks sharp. And the majority of people that produce internet videos today, like myself, iRix Guy's Adventure Channel, youtube.com/iRix Guy. That's where you're watching this video. If you haven't subscribed already, definitely do so, because I've got a lot of really cool GoPro Hero 4 4K videos incoming soon. But this monitor that's part of this iMac with Retina 5K display, it's not just 4K. Now 4K is known as ultra high definition. That's the series of TVs that you see in the stores, and they're too expensive in my opinion. People aren't really jumping on them yet. But like any other technology that's fresh to the market, like any other technology, the price will eventually go down. Now, what's significant about the iMac with Retina 5K is that it allows, and I wouldn't suggest that everyone go out and get it. If you've already got an iMac, like I had the previous generation, which is perfectly powerful, perfectly fine, but it did not have a 4K or 5K display. So from a processor perspective, the jump from performance as far as CPU is concerned, graphics, etc., although it's somewhat significant, it's nothing earth-shattering in my opinion. But the display, 5K, go out and look for prices for 4K displays. If you want to add a 4K onto your existing iMac, look at how expensive they are. And then consider the new iMac, not with 4K, but 5K. That's even higher resolution than a 4K monitor that one would likely go out and spend more for just a monitor than they would for the entire computer. And that's what's brilliant about it. And that's the reason that I upgraded my iMac from the previous generation, which was current as of yesterday, to the current model iMac, which has the 5K display. Now for my channel it's significant, and a lot of people would argue, they would say, well, why are you doing 4K? 4K TVs are too expensive, people aren't using them, and that's very true. They are right now. But if one wants to corner a market, one needs to get out there and embrace that new technology and start utilizing it. So from a content creator's perspective, like iRix Guy's Adventure Channel, youtube.com/iRix Guy, it's imperative that I upgraded this new technology. Because what I can do with the iMac, in conjunction with the GoPro HD Hero 4 Black Edition, is that not only can I edit, and you could edit the 4K video in the previous generation iMac, no problem. But not only can I edit the video, but I can see in not 4K, but on a 5K monitor, how crisp that video looks if I've got blemishes in the video that I need to clean up. So I can thoroughly visually inspect the quality of my content, so that when these 4K TVs do become affordable, when these 4K TVs do become mainstream, and when we look at HD TV, like we once looked at SD TV. SD TV was the predecessor of HD TV. Once Ultra HD, 4K, whatever you want to call it, once that becomes mainstream, it'll be good to know that I've already somewhat saturated the internet with video content that was filmed in 4K. Because what's worse, people go out, and there's early adopters of every product. People go out and get a TV, and it may not be the first day it came out, but it may be a year or so later, and it's still somewhat expensive. But they get it, they take it home, and there's no content. So even though you've got the latest and greatest technology, you don't have anything to watch on that television that will utilize the technology. So you're using I'm trying to think of a good analogy. So you've got a Lamborghini, but you're driving a golf cart when you turn it on because there's no content in 4K. And that's why it's important for content creators like myself to embrace the new iMac. Now, would I recommend everyone go out and get the new iMac? No. There's probably, as I'd mentioned earlier, there's probably, from a performance perspective, sure, I had the top of the line iMac, the 3.5 gigahertz i7 with 32 gigs of memory, but I'm only jumping up with this to a 4 gigahertz i7, which, that's a significant jump, but nothing huge. The graphics card's different. I think the 5K iMac uses ATI, or AMD rather now. AMD acquired ATI a while back instead of NVIDIA graphics. So, but and the new iMac 5K, according to what was stated in the release, is that it should get better battery life. And pardon me if I misquote it, not battery life, but energy efficiency. And if I misquoted, I apologize, but I think the figure was 30% more energy efficient, which is significant because you got to think about it. With a desktop computer, most people are going to leave it on all the time. And when they do, it's a situation to where you want to maximize the energy efficiency of that device because you're paying a power bill every month. And that stuff adds up. So who would I say would need to go out and get the new iMac with Retina 5K display? Anyone that's a serious content creator like myself, anyone that wants to maybe see the content in that higher resolution. Maybe they're not a serious content creator. Maybe it's someone that's jumping into the Mac computer arena and they don't already have a Mac. Well, obviously, it would make more sense to buy, if one was in the market for an iMac, it would make the most sense to consider the iMac with Retina 5K display to better future-proof their investment. Because ultimately, unless technology significantly changes, that's what I've always enjoyed about Macs, is that you can purchase one, and unlike a PC where people tend to constantly upgrade, if one purchases a Mac and they equip it well, it's something that'll likely last. I don't know. I used my Mac before my current iMac that I'm replacing with a 5K with Retina. I used it, I think it was either 3 or 4 years, and I didn't feel obsolete. I was able to run the current updated versions of Mac OS X, all the applications. But it's not really until they get to where they're changing the input-output, like the USB port speeds, the addition of Thunderbolt port, and maybe future ports that we haven't even heard of yet. It's not until Mac gets into a situation like that, or they change their processor. We know when they switch from a Power PC-based processor to Intel, that made the upgrade of a Mac computer somewhat urgent for most people, because the old software would run, and then the new software they started to release was only crafted for, or coded for rather, the Intel architecture, the CISC versus the RISC, R-I-S-C. So there you have it. I mean, those are my thoughts, and I am stoked. And I tell you, as soon as I get the iMac, and it's a long thing to say, the iMac with Retina display 5K, iMac with Retina 5K, whatever you want to call it. All that I call it is a nice monitor with a little bit faster processing power than what I have now. So as soon as I get it, stay tuned for the unboxing video, stay tuned for the review video, and most importantly, stay tuned for an abundance of 4K content. And that's what's so cool about 4K, because I can film in 4K, and even if you're not watching it on a 4K set, you'll be able to see the video. It was natively recorded in 4K, but you'll be able to see it in 1080p or whatever resolution you're watching in. So when it was natively recorded at a higher resolution, the video will look more crisp anyway, even if it's downgraded to 1080p or whatever, to full HD 1920 by 1080. Or maybe you're watching at a lower resolution than that. The fact that it was recorded at a 4K resolution is going to make it a lot more visually appealing to watch. So that's my rant about the new Apple iMac with Retina 5K display. Tell me what you think. Are you going to upgrade? If you are, why are you upgrading? And if you're not, why are you not upgrading? I want to hear your feedback. Share this video with others. Be sure to subscribe, youtube.com/IRIXGuy. I got a few thousand videos now, and I got thousands more coming soon. So subscribe, share, and help me grow. Y'all have a good day.